Chair.
Okay. So if we go to item 1 of the agenda, which is apologies for absence, I understand we've had a number of apologies here.
I've had Mike and Rebecca. I haven't had any others.
Anybody aware?
I think Angela was because she's had a
She might be late, so I give apologies for now, but she may end up.
Okay. But no others.
Gary Burkhardt said that he couldn't make it today, so I think that,
Oh, I
that,
beg
counts,
your
as,
pardon,
that
yeah.
counts as apologies as well.
That's true. Thank you.
He's not doing that.
That's right, yeah. So again, no cause apologies for absence. Can I ask them for any declarations of interest, which is point 2? No declarations of interest? Can we note that then? So the next point of the agenda, I'm very happy one to have is to welcome the new Kelly Grabber. No, yes. Just like to say a little bit word about, you know, just a little bit who you are and what your background is, just most of the council, but it will probably just, pretty contact.
No problem. So my name's Terry. I've worked in local government for nearly 8 years in 2 previous town councils. And this is my second day in post, my first full council meeting. Predominantly before being in local government, my background was finance and accountancy. I've been in South Wales for 12 years. I'm originally from Chester.
So are you moving on the course then?
I live in Carmarthen.
But you keep on,
Came from Chester to Bridgend, and then went from Bridgend to Carmarthen.
but you with four councils,
I was, yeah.
I know you this one.
First, then both
you will be going to the course then.
I'm still the other side of the day, we go in.
Do you prefer Kerry or Kerry?
Either's fine.
She says, call her Kenny Lee when she's in trouble. Okay, and then we've got another new face on the table, and used to welcome Amelia Cox, is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
So Amelia Cox is our new councillor for the Males Ward. So could you just introduce yourself? Oh.
That's okay, just sorry.
The meeting is going so well. Lovely to see you, that's right. Yes.
Sorry, Anne.
No, that's going to be fine. Okay, so I'm Amelia Cox. I am here to join the males team and the Moles Community Council, serving for all of the residents there, and I really look forward to it. You might recognise me from doing a campaign for the last local elections in West Cross. Unsuccessful, but I still kept going, even though it was quite a hard job. Because I am fully committed to sort of helping and improving in local community. My background, I am a teacher of computer science and maths, and I teach up in Merthyr at the moment, which I thoroughly enjoy. And I think from a teaching background, my main aim, and all of us together as teachers, as a collective, we work together to get the best out of the kids. And I think hopefully I can bring that kind of mantra to this as well, where we all work together, bringing the best out of the community. So hopefully I can share some of those skills as well. I think my first thing would be to have a chat with Tim and Helen about what's currently happening in Males, to see how we could work together there, which would be great. I've looked at all the businesses in Males, looked at the schools. I have quite a keen interest in the environment, so I think that would be the thing that I would probably like to start on first. And with Clyde being such a green area, I think it's a sort of nice introduction there. But yeah, I'm looking forward to getting involved and being part of this team. Thank you for having me.
Well, you're very welcome. Thank you for showing the interest and putting yourself forward. So it's always appreciated. So then, if we move on to point 5 of the agenda, some of my glasses are dirty. Point 5 of the agenda is about public participation. we've received some correspondence in relation to the RNLI raft race, which is scheduled for Mumbles in August. And I invited the couple along the Andersons to talk about what their concerns are in relation to this. So, can you give me suspend standing orders to ask the people to address the full council? Do we need to vote on that? Yes, we do. Are we all in favour of suspending standing orders? Yeah, okay. So if I might hand over to you, and if you could address the council back.
That's okay, do you want to stand here? Or do you want to move somewhere where is it?
Whatever you.
Right. All right, so good evening, and thank you for agreeing for us to come and comment on the agenda item relating to the RNLI and the raft race. It seems that the RNLI and the management of Mumbles Pier are unable to resolve differences, which has resulted in the Mumbles lifeboat being unable to be housed in its station. Since January this year, the lifeboat is moored in Swansea Bay. The RNLI shop and the visitor centre, a significant tourist attraction here in Mumbles, are closed since January. There are questions around why this impasse has occurred and of the legal and due process that has resulted in this situation. However, that's scrutiny for others. Our concern tonight is the impact that closure is having on Mumbles community through the economic and commercial consequences we're experiencing by the closure of the lifeboat station. Given this closure, would it be appropriate for this year's raft race to be postponed until the station with all its facilities is reopened? Appreciate this is challenging because saving lives at sea is an extremely important service and one that Mumbles can be very proud of as being part of that service. However, after 6 months, there seems no resolution to Mumbles Pier and the RNLI situation, and therefore we suggest that the Mumbles community should now take some action. In our discussion with the officer from the RNLI, the head of region, we were advised that this closure is likely to be long-term, complex, and extremely expensive to resolve. Yet the RNLI is content for the local people here in Mumbles to continue with the status quo and continue to ask this community and its visitors to financially support an organisation who closed the station without making any alternative provision for the retail outlet. Knowing this closure was going to be long-term, the volunteers and crew have made the best of this situation. Rescue times are slightly longer, but the real impact is on the significant reduction of income from the shop and the impact on our visitors' enjoyment. The RNLI on closing this station were aware of this financial reduction, but seemingly were prepared to accept it, expecting us, the local people, to continue to dig deep into our pockets and financially give to the RNLI, as we always have done. Closing the station has both economical and commercial consequences, but the Mumbles community is still expected to continue as normal with its fundraising. Alternative accommodation for the shop could be available up here, and by utilising one of the many.
Sorry.
Okay. Alternative accommodation for the RNLI shop could be available at the pier, or by utilising one of the empty retail outlets in the village, but neither of these options have been explored. It's just easier to keep asking this community to keep on giving money. According to the Evening Post, the new lifeboat station and the all-weather Tamar class lifeboat in 2014 cost in the region of £14 million. A fair chunk of that money was raised through hard-working volunteers here in the village, such as my father, Bill Barrington. He collected tiger seed in all weather outside the local court. Some of you may remember that. The station cost £11.7 million, has been closed and not used for 6 months. Why then should Mumbles be asked to raise even more money when the existing resources are not being used for the purpose that they were intended for. Hence, the question about delaying the rat race until the station is fully operational. Maybe cutting off the hand that feeds the RNLI may be the way forward. Harsh and unpopular, but perhaps effective. Looking at the bigger picture, if the boat is sat in water for 6 months, the Tamar lifeboat, actually, the one here we've got, is constructed to be moored at sea, it doesn't need a boathouse. Why did Mumbles need a replacement boathouse in the first place? Perhaps that 11.7 million could have been spent on something else. In 2014, a new lifeboat by itself may have been sufficient. It could have lived in the sea like it has done for 6 months. You may have been following the national media coverage about the RNLI and what's happening in the other communities in the UK. There is a connection with Mumbles, so bear with me. The communities of Arbroath in Scotland, Frinton in Essex, and Aldenborough in Suffolk are all in dispute with the RNLI, all because the RNLI want to remove their all-weather boats and replace them with the D-class inshore, the one that we have in Mumbles. Hence, here in Mumbles, we are fortunate to have 2 lifeboats, the Tamar all-weather and the D-class inshore. If we want to retain both these boats in the future, perhaps Mumbles needs now to take action. Try to influence a resolution at the pier and ensure that we have a future for both our lifeboats. So in conclusion, there is an impasse at pier, has been for 6 months. It is likely to be long-term, with both the boathouse, the shop and the visitor centre closed. This results in significant reduction in income for the RNLI, with economic and commercial consequences for us here in the village. So we are asking whether fundraising should be postponed in the hope that this will assist a resolution at pier. So I again ask you, should this year's rat race take place?
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Presentation. So now if we go. Come in. Now we resume standing orders. Anybody want to make a comment? I know Bill has indicated this, so you will.
Thanks, Chair. Thanks for your presentation. Very nice to hear you so passionate about the lifeboat station models. Just picking up one point on the reason for the new lifeboat stations. As I understand it, it can be launched when it's closer to the sea, but that was the reason it got moved a lot further down. So I think that was the reason for that. Myself, Francesca, and Angela are county councillors for Mumbles. And we have then made representation to Swansea Council on it. So we've had a lengthy email discussion with we copied in all the senior members of officers who could be relevant in this. As soon as it happened, we gave you a broad disappointment to the pier being shut and the effect it has on tourism, locals, and indeed the access to the lifeboat, which is the most important thing, because if someone's life is in danger, every second counts. Swansea Council don't believe it's their place to get involved, and they said to us that we can make contact, but they don't want to get involved. So that's the Swansea Council's current position on it. It is a legal issue, so I think I'm not prepared to discuss who's right and wrong, because there is some things that I'm sure I'm not aware of as well. I've heard both sides. But I'm sure there's some things that, it's a process to comment on. So it's a complex one. It's really frustrating and it could cause a loss of life. So, you'd like to definitely put it ahead. I think it's worth the community council considering writing a letter to both sides and saying, if everyone agrees, obviously, that we're as equally as upset as you are. So I think we can discuss that. In my opinion, personally, when it comes to cancelling the event, I think that would be the wrong thing to do. I think it would ruin everyone's enjoyment for the wrong reason, in my opinion. But thanks for that. I'm happy to send a letter and keep trying as hard as we can to get away with them. Thanks.
Okay, anybody else from Richard Douglas?
Yeah, as someone who uses water, if you ever call on to get there, sort of yesterday, and to get to the boat where Dismal, it's going to take an extra couple of minutes. How you measure how many lives that costs or risks, who knows? But as I say, I'm certainly in favour of council, or well, perhaps in addition to that, perhaps a couple of people from community council to approach people as well, to try and get things resolved, because it is in everyone's interest. It's not an easy solution, I dare say, but I think it's worth trying.
Harry Townsend Jones? Harry Townsend Jones?
Thank you. Yeah, I just, it is obviously extremely frustrating on both sides, and I do understand that, you know, there are possibly intractable views on both sides, but I just question I suppose the logic of cancelling the raft race when income has dropped from other sources. Surely that makes the raft race even more important to make sure that that money is raised. I'm not quite sure what benefit there would be in not having the raft race.
Okay, Rob Marshall?
Yeah, I mean, I know Jane and John, and I knew Bill very well. I'm sure a lot of people would have seen him in the rain in his yellow sou'wester,
Yeah.
and in the sun in his black dress, if I could avoid that, because he was the virtue of all saints. And I know how passionate they are. We've been talking about this. I really support what Richard said about having a group of us try and speak to the people. I mean, the more people that can put pressure on anything, the more likely we are to have a favourable outcome and influence. And I think that would be a good place to start. As for cancelling it, I think it would be a shame, but you know, sometimes that shock for a community sort of makes things happen and makes people at the top realise then, oh bugger, you know, we've really got to sort this out so that it doesn't happen again, you know. So yeah, but certainly Richard's approach I would support.
Sarah Keaton?
I just think there must be two sides to this story. I don't understand what the logic is with them actually banning the lifeboat from there. I'd like to hear what they have to say for it before we do a knee-jerk reaction. Is it because they're still doing repairs or work or whatever? I don't understand. I don't quite get the logic of it because it doesn't make sense either side. I don't think the raft race should be banned. I think that's silly. I think that's a good way of raising money. So no, I wouldn't be pro the lifeboat being banned, the raft race. But I would like to find out what's going on behind all this. Thanks.
Ian Spot, did you want to go? Right. Good evening, everyone. I'm an advocate of supporting the continuous of the raft race. I do feel a bit left out because I don't know the reasons, you know, why there is this impasse between the RNLI and the owners of the pier. But you know, the event I believe is on the 6th of August. You know, it'd be a shame to cancel it, in my view. Perhaps we could have an indication as to whether the RNLI intend to put it on again. Are they?
I don't know. Sorry, I don't know.
Because we've not organised it, we're not in a position to cancel it.
It's the local RNLI according to Jane who
Yeah.
So Sarah's wanted to come back in. Sarah?
Hi, just to say, I just had a message. I messaged Katie Bolland to ask her what was behind this. And the message she just given me is how it's the RNLI that has decided the pier is too unsafe for them at the moment and have approved. We have approved the RNLI to construct guide wire for the crew to use. There we go.
I think we've got to be careful with what we'll say, yeah. Okay, can I just suggest the way forward here? Obviously, as some councillors have said, obviously there are two sides to the story. I've done a bit of background read into this. I think, as a way to suggest going forward, that we make some further inquiries with the RNLI as well. Find out a bit of the background to the situation and then consider as a council, maybe the idea of writing to the RNLI with the concerns that have been raised. But we need to do a bit more further research already, because as I understand it, obviously the peer are involved, the RNLI are involved. As I think Ian so rightly points out, it is not for us to stop the raft race, because it's not something that we organise, it's not good to the council. But we could be in a position to voice our concerns. So that's a way forward that I'm suggesting. Are we in agreement to that?
Yeah.
Pam Erasmus?
I was just wondering if the raft race does go ahead and this, I know it's usually a huge amount of money is collected. Where will that money go? Will it stay in Mumbles or will it have to be given to the national RNLI, or will Mumbles RNLI be able to keep it?
We're really going off topic here now, because it is an RNLI event and any money that they raise will go to the RNLI. It will not just be spent in Mumbles, it will be going into the coffers of the RNLI.
Thank you.
I'm not really qualified to talk on that, but as I would understand it in any charity, it wouldn't go just to be spent in Mumbles.
Thank you.
Okay.
Can I ask you a question? Jack,
Certainly.
you said that we might be able to send an email, a message or an email, which I think is a very good idea. You said you wanted to get some information first.
Yeah.
Now, depend on that information, I think everyone's in agreement that they want the pier open,
Yeah.
right? I'm guessing, but I think everyone's in agreement on the pier open, so I don't think we'd have to bring it back to council again before we send a letter, would we? So we all agree that.
I'm happy to agree to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we circulate an email before, and if everyone's happy with it, then we can send it off and we can agree that, now.
Yeah, are we all in agreement to that?
Yeah.
So can we all vote in favour of that? In favour, okay, that is passed. So thank you for your contribution. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
So if we could move on to point 7 of the agenda, which is minutes of the monthly meeting held on the 13th of June 2023, and the minutes of the, well, that's for the minutes of the monthly meeting held on the 13th of June 2023. You've got those in your agenda, in your meeting pack. Are we happy with those? Are we happy to accept them as all those in favour? Yes. And then minutes of the special meeting held on the 27th of June. All, are we all happy with that? All those in favour? So point 8 is the clerk's report. I don't know if anybody is going to do it. Are you going to do a clerk's report? Everybody, you can read it.
Hi, by the way.
Paul, as you were the acting clerk, were you going to do a clerk's report?
No, there's nothing to report this month, Chair. Apart from a new clerk starting.
Yeah, okay, Rob Marshall.
Hi, Paul, I know the answer to this because we talked about it on Friday, but I'm very keen to get the report from the internal resolution panel done because our next meeting is September, so that will have been a year since I first brought this to the council. Can we put on a timeline or time limit on it for the 31st of July, please? And if it's not done by then, a minuted response as to why it's not done by then.
Yes, thanks, Councillor. Yeah, I think hopefully now with some of my time being freed up, then I will be able to meet with Councillors Nelson and Jarvis, and we can bring it to a conclusion. So I'll be in touch with the two councillors later this week.
There we are, thanks, Paul.
Helen, did you want to come in?
I'm sorry I was late.
It's not- go ahead.
I don't know if anyone said this, but I wanted to record our thanks to Paul.
Oh,
For
yeah,
the board,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he honestly is saying.
Thank you, everybody.
Well, yeah, I mean, you know, it's got to be minuted, it's Paul's done a sterling job of taking the region very traumatic circumstances. And he's had a hell of a lot on his plate over the past few months, and he's done a sterling job.
And he's going to be retired.
Okay, then, I'll want to move on to the next point, which is the parks report. I'm sorry about the chair report, there, sorry.
Yeah, you know,
I am the chair. Sorry about a bit of delay, this, but I did send it to Ian earlier on, and something happened, and it just, don't know what happened, it's doubled, or something happened, it's really illegible, it wasn't my like, you know. Anyway, so I will please.
Sorry, Chair, I have sent it out subsequently.
Yeah, I know that.
Oh, sorry,
That's-
yeah.
That's what I'm saying, we did have a bit of sort of technical difficulty, but I don't know what happened. But the sort of mirrored with something. So on the 10th of June, the MCC hosted the official launch of the new skateboard park at Dale. The state-of-the-art facility has already proved popular with local residents and visitors from its initial opening some weeks earlier, attracting skateboard enthusiasts from across Swansea and beyond. The opening event was a huge success, drawing a diverse crowd of skateboarders, families, and onlookers alike. The event featured an action-packed competition that showcased the skills of participants across the various age groups. The opening was a true celebration of skateboarding, and we're delighted to be able to provide a world-class facility to skaters of all levels and ages to showcase their talents and embrace the exciting addition to our community. The skate park is a robust example of how MCC is committed to working in close partnership with community organisations such as Mumble Skate Park Association in order to develop facilities that are truly embedded in the local community. I would like to take this opportunity to thank all councillors present and past. All councillors present and past employers of MCC, sponsors, supporters, volunteers, and the local community who have all contributed to finally delivering this long-held dream of MCC, deliver the skate park to the local community. As part of my last report, I was very happy to provide an update that MCC's new park, Terry Gravan, will be commencing her duties with us on the 10th of July. Terry is joining us from Paul Town Council, where she has been for the past 2 years. Having spoken to Terry, I know how she is very keen to join MCC in order that she may make a contribution to the ongoing work and play a key role of how the council develops and progresses in coming years. Another exciting new development as to the constitution of the council was that we were fortunate enough to be able to recruit 2 more councillors. This will mean that for the first time in some time, MCC will be operating with this full quota of 18 councillors. Our 2 new councillors are Amelia Cox, who will be representing Wales, the Conservative group, and Gary Burkhardt, who will be representing West Cross, the Labour group. Gary has previously acted as a community councillor, and Amelia has previously stood as a candidate, so they are obviously both demonstrably have a keen interest in local democracy, and I look forward to the contributions that they can make to the future of MCC. As previously reported, work continues on the development of the Austrian Centre, where currently surveys are underway, and we will talk about this later today, to assess the current conditions of the building, and also planning for undertaking consultation in relation to the development. MCC councillors and officials are hoping in the near future to undertake a guided tour by the development contractor of the Underhill Park development to look at progress to date prior to the official opening of the site, which is now planned to be later in the year when work on the all-weather pitch is completed. That visit did actually occur this Sunday, I'm glad to report it was well attended and it was very interesting and informative visit. But I will report on that in more depth at the report to the council in September, because I'm hoping by that time there will be more developments. Okay, Charlie Townsend Jones.
I think Pam was before me.
Okay, Pam Erasmus.
Just like to say thank you for your comments about councillors past and present who helped towards the skate park. I'd like to remember Steve, our old clerk, because he was so keen on this project. He worked overtime and he did all that he could to facilitate it and send it forward. So I'd like to thank him as well at the same time, if that's all right.
Yeah, well, as I said in the report, I don't talk about councillors and staff past and present.
Okay, but special thanks to Steve because he was so marvellous. Thank you, Martin.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Harry.
Yes, this is not relevant to anything you said in your report, but I don't quite see where else I can bring it up. There doesn't seem to be any report on the agenda for Mumbles Fest. It was one of the requirements of the terms of reference that there was a monthly report. With less than 2 weeks to go, I would have thought there should have been a final update. I'm particularly concerned about the fact there appears no longer to be any Welsh language provision at all at the festival, and I was rather hoping there would be a report that could explain why that's the case.
Probably the best place to would have been to bring that up in questions to the chair of the relevant committee.
Yeah, but there isn't a point, there isn't.
But there is a point on the agenda for questions to the chair of the relevant committee.
No, there's no questions to the chair of the Mumbles Fest Task and Finish Group.
Oh, but there is a provision for chair of the cultural committee.
Yeah, but that's not part of the Culture Committee. The Mumbles Fest Task and Finish Group works directly to full council.
Same person.
So therefore it would seem logical that I'm asking you as chair of full council to answer the question.
I would suggest that you hold on to your questions to that point in the agenda. Is that okay? Sarah Keaton? No. No, it's not okay. So what do you want to do, Carrie?
I'm happy to answer that question.
Yeah.
I would like my question answered. As chair of the council, you are ultimately the person who the, Mumbles Fest Task and Finish Group reports to on behalf of the council. So I'm quite grateful for an answer.
We have got a full council here, and it seems to me that the best place to get this question answered is when it comes to the chair of that relevant committee. And I cannot see any reason whatsoever why that is not acceptable.
Because Mumbles Fest is nothing to do with the Culture Committee.
You were getting your question answered. You seem to be sticking to a procedural point for whatever reason.
Isn't that what councils do?
Well, yeah, so we've got a procedural point.
I thought it was.
You've been on as chair of the council. I'm sorry, that's the position that we're in. If you could just possibly hold on to your question for another, say, half hour, could you possibly do that? Okay, anybody else got any questions? Okay, going back to the next agenda. Financial report June 2023. Paul?
Yeah, thanks, Chair. I just want to report to council that the difficulties that I was having with the bank last month has now been overcome, and everything I've got full access to the account again, so everything is being paid on time. And I've listed there in the report all the payments that have gone through this month, all the ones that were outstanding from the time I was unable to access the bank account have all now been paid, and the total for the month is just under £50,000. I've also listed the Barclaycard purchases there for June 2023. And if anybody's got any questions on those, because the recommendation then is to retrospectively approve those payments. So any questions from anybody?
Ian has got some questions.
Hello, Paul. I don't know if it's a specific time to ask the question, but
it's an opportunity. It's in connection with the skate park, the official opening. The cost for the toilet facilities were £1,800. And the other question was the skate park bottle filler connection at £4,876. My question specifically is this going to be downloaded from the lottery money that was set aside for events, or where is the payment coming from?
The two separate issues really. There is the skate park event, which one of the things I need to do is to gather all those costs together and then to identify how that's going to be funded. And that's something I was going to do in a future finance report. The water filler is not specifically part of the opening event. That's something that I think we've installed 4 now. So that would come from the Environment Committee. That's where the budget is based for the water bottle fillers. But you are right, there is a need to identify the full cost of the skate park jam and how that is to be funded.
Okay, that's fine. Okay. Helen Nelson?
I know £175 for my individual budget. I know it's not that. It would be small way to find that. £75 on the
The dance, no, we'll do the rotate.
Okay.
Okay, hi Paul again. Just in regards to the wholeness dance group, that we awarded a grant of £800 I think it was, back in May. I witnessed some of the class yesterday because we had the meeting for Mumbles Fest, and Vicky, who runs it, wasn't aware that she had got a grant, and I went back to the minutes for her, and it also said that we were going to do it as a pilot scheme and review it nearer the end of the completion. Well, it is sort of at the end of the completion now, and she's worried that without further funding, it won't happen in the area. She'll have to try somewhere else. Witnessing it yesterday and seeing the people, the people who are recovering from strokes as well, and a lot of them have been recommended by doctors to attend this session as well. I would like, if possible, that at the next meeting, we get in touch with her first and say, that we might consider extending this grant, but I would like to invite Vicky to the next meeting to give a presentation on exactly that. I think she'd speak much better about it than the application that we received came in, and I think we'd all learn a lot more about what she actually covers and how it benefits the older community. We do a lot for the younger community in Mumbles. We've got the skateboard park, we've got the tennis courts and the basketball, we've got Underhill, but we don't do so much for our older community, and I think we benefit from having Vicky give a little presentation of that.
Paul, do they want to respond?
Just that, yeah, I was aware of that issue, and that is one of a number of issues I need to progress now that hopefully some of my time will be freed up, and I will get onto that one this week.
Oh, thanks, Paul.
Okay, that's fair enough. Okay, and I would just like to say as well in relation to that, in relation to the financial report, I know Paul's had a real job at his big with freeing up the finances with the cards and payments and stuff like that. And then not on the back, Paul, you did a sterling job again with that.
Thank you.
And I know it was very frustrating. All the different things, all the different hoops that we were asked to jump through by the banks. And it was very frustrating because we had a lot of creditors breathing down our necks as well. And fair play to Paul, he steered a steady ship there. So well done again.
Okay, thanks, Chair. Just to finish going through the report, then there's 2 items of income which have both come from OCA. One is the return of the rent that we paid on the 1st of June for the minor hall, but obviously we signed the new legal agreement with them, so we can't. We asked for that back, and it's been refunded, and it's been cancelled going forward, so we're no longer paying for that. And obviously any income now from the Ostrom Hall comes to Mumbles Community Council. So the amount that's been paid in in the report is that the amounts that went directly into the OCA's bank account, and there's also some cash and checks which are due to be banked, which will be the total money for June, and income for June. Bank balances are shown there, just short of 450,000. Budget monitoring, now that the accounts for last year have been finalised and sent off to Audit Wales, I've set up the new year's budget on our accounting package. So I'll be starting to put the budget in for this year, and then do April, May and June separately, do a bank rec for each month, and then the reports will start going to the chairs of each committee. It won't be in July, unfortunately. I suspect there won't be many meetings in August, but they will then start going regularly from September. But the chairs will get them prior to that. And one final issue is an urgent order that I authorised as part of the architect's review of the Ostring before they start putting their plans together. When they visited, they noticed a raised area at the back of the stage, and they need to know what's under it. They seem to think that it's a very large rock, but without any drilling to find out what it is, they can't then make a decision on whether it's possible to move the stage or not. So there was an urgent request from Down to Earth to authorise some drilling on the stage to identify what was under it. The cost of that drilling was £445, and I, in consultation with the Ostring, the councillors on the Ostring working group, I then authorised that for that work to go ahead. So again, I'm recommending retrospective approval be given to that work on the Ostring stage.
Okay, thank you for that. Can I put this to council then, if there's retrospective approval to that, all in favour? Be okay. Did you want to come in on something?
I don't want to sound macabre, but do we now have procedures in place so that if any of our staff are not able to fulfil their duties as far as the bank's concerned, do we have procedures in place now that we're not stuck in the same position again where for months at a time we can't access our own bank account?
That's one of the things I need to discuss with Kerry. Obviously, she only started yesterday, so that's something that will be on our list. And also simple things like what's the passcode for your computer? It is covered in financial regs that you have you're supposed to put them in a sealed envelope, and then that's held securely. And then if it is ever needed, then it's there to access. So that's something that we will have to implement going forward.
Thank you, Paul.
A very good point, Pam, and yes, we have learned from experience, and Paul and Kerry have all discussed this, and it's not just for staff as well. I think it's the case any of us don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. So we need to be in a position that if something like that, God forbid, ever happens again, that we can Helen.
Yeah, I was going to raise the same point. If all staff should put desk instructions down after we operate and work, every staff member does desk instructions, like passwords, the kind of things that somebody would need to do to come in and just take over the as well.
Yeah, this what I mean, as I've talked Kerry about this already. Now, one of the things I think, and again, we've talked to Kerry about this, and it's not just that, but one of the things that we need to be looking at, Kerry's got her own ideas as well, I know this, is particularly right at the very beginning, is looking at processes and procedures of how we organise our documentation, how we organise our files, how we share our files, because, particularly at the moment, particularly the past, few months, we've been quite ad hoc about things.
No, I've never been told how to use our system.
No, well, listen, one of the things, I don't want to say too much at the moment, but one of the things we're talking about is going over on all the Teams system. Because then we can keep everything in Teams. I've used Teams in the past, and I think that's the most useful skill that we've got. We've got the Teams account.
And talk to you.
Yeah, this one, but again, it's not for me as chair, this is for the staff to work, but that's our idea, but we've already talked about this. And of course, with that, and we need to work with SA1 about what happens if anything happens to any member of staff or councillors. As I said, I don't want to go off too much in a tangent on that, but that's just like Okay, then, so if we're happy to accept Paul's financial report, are we all happy with that, all in favour? Then we move on to point 11, the Underhill Joint Working Group. And the point is that due to other commitments, Councillor Rebecca Fogarty submitted a resignation to a member of the Underhill Joint Working Group. And I'd like to take this opportunity to thank her for all the work she's done this, because it's been a very challenging project taken forward. And for the whole group, to be honest, the Underhill Working Group, there's a lot of work being involved, a lot of the new trend to manage. So going forward, we need to consider another councillor to appointed to join the Underhill Working Group. So you don't really need to consult Ian Scott.
I'm quite happy to do it.
Ian Scott has put his name forward.
We can't do it all.
Helen and Angela, all happy to do it. Carrie Councillor Jones is already on it.
Sorry, no, I'm not putting I'm putting my hand up to actually nominate someone.
Okay, yes, go ahead.
And sorry, I can't hear a lot of what people are saying in the room, so I've no idea if it's been mentioned before. But I would like to nominate Helen. I think it's really important we keep it as a woman on that committee, because it is a totally male-dominated committee otherwise.
Great.
I should already nominated myself.
Yeah. Yeah, Helen has already nominated herself, but thanks
Fine.
for that endorsement, Gary. Anybody else want to do it?
Just confused, sorry, what do you mean male dominated from just she's on it?
Yeah,
What do you mean?
what do you mean, Terry?
Sorry, what do I mean about what?
Male dominated?
Well,
Because I
because
thought-
the members from the MCA side are all men.
Oh, right, well, that's not the way you can control it, right, okay, sorry, okay, okay.
Okay, Palmer Asmus.
Helen is already working with MCA on projects such as getting retrospective solar panels
We hope.
fitted. So I think that she would be, she is ideally placed to take that place and is already working with them. So it would be wise for her to join the group, as she's already got partners within the group that she's established contacts with.
Oh, okay, we'll just ask if the names to come forward at the moment, thanks for your endorsement, Pam.
Who's on it already, please, Martin?
At the moment, there's Will and Carrie, and so far, it has been traditionally a working group of 3 people.
Could we make it bigger? I mean, because I think it's a really important project.
We can't actually, sorry, it's in the terms of the set up that it was 3 members of them, 3 of us, and a neutral chair.
Yeah,
I was just going to suggest, because I don't really want to decide between 2 people who I get on well with, that maybe it would be better to have a representative from each ward, and that would make 4.
Ian Scott?
I'm quite happy to withdraw.
Yeah, okay, I think, say going forward, if Ian's quite happy to withdraw, yeah, thank you, Helen. But also, one of the things, and again, I don't want to go off on too much of a tangent now, but we're getting to the point where Underhill is right nearing the point of completion. We will need to be thinking of.
No, it's not.
Pardon? Pardon, Carrie? Nearing the point of completion, and we will be needing to look at how we have a management working group going forward, working with Mumbles Community Association, and this would be something I would like to see the working group start to explore as well. So anyway, so if we're happy with that, if we're happy then to accept.
I
Sorry.
I'll send it to her, but I think then Ian and Andrew and me. Yeah, if I go over 2 of them.
With 3. I don't, I'm not saying, so I'm not offending.
Sorry, Rob.
Pam, did you want to say something before I go through?
Just as some information for you, I'm not very often on this side of the video link during full council. Martin, the sound is really poor. I wonder, it's difficult to hear you speaking and it's really mumbly. Not you, but the whole room. Is there some way that we could ask SA1 to get involved to see if we could improve the people who are online, that they can actually hear what's going on properly? Because it's really, really poor.
We can get what they call a conference microphone. I don't think we've got one at the moment, but if this is obviously a problem, yes, we can look at this. We'll
Thank
just
you.
have to hold
Thank
on
you.
to what we've got at the moment. Right, so going forward, we got, sorry about that, my mistake there. So going forward, we've got 2 people. My feeling is it would be best if we go to a secret ballot on this.
Oh, for God's sake.
Please, you know, it is not professional to interact when somebody's talking like that. If you've got something to say, please turn your microphone off. I'm happy to put it to the board that we don't go to a secret ballot, or that we have an open ballot. Personally, I was just expressing my point of view there, but we put it to that, but it is not good practice, it is not professional to make a comment like that when somebody is speaking. Let everybody speak. If you disagree with them, disagree with them, but say it in order, okay?
Right, I have my hand up. That's what I'm trying to make the point. You're moving on to a vote. I didn't even hear who the second person is. Last I heard was Ian had withdrawn and Helen was the only nominee.
That's what I
Presumably at
thought.
some point, someone else has put their name forward. We can't hear you.
Well,
We can hear her.
yeah.
That's not.
Yeah, thank you, Rob. We can hear you as well.
Angela was the other person that had put their name forward as well.
We work really well together.
The trouble is, we got there, and I don't think we can accept that, can we?
It's in the agreement.
It's in the agreement.
In the agreement we set up with MCA.
Yeah.
It was 3 councillors,
Three
and
councillors.
3 members of that, and I think, I can't remember the chair or the swaps or it's one, I can't remember about that, but it's 3 and 3.
So,
The only reason I don't want to play a word board, that's for sure, so I feel, I said,
yeah,
you know, in these conversations with David Wilson about the environmental side, I think, could I be co-opted on to do that? I'm trying to find all sorts of creative ways of solving problems.
could be bought.
And I don't need to think about it.
No, as I sort of said, I'm just more about that. I'm not, I was just expressing an opinion then. But it's up to the council to vote on whether we have a secret ballot or not anyway. But
I mean, do you both really want to do it?
I am quite keen.
Yeah, do you really want to do it?
Well, like you, it's extra work, but I suppose we're quite keen and nosy to kind of see what's going on and get involved.
okay, so we don't have to go to vote on it. Sarah Keaton?
Hi, I just wanted to query why we're having a secret ballot.
Yeah.
Surely that's really undemocratic. We should all be proud of what we vote for.
Could you explain, Sarah, why a secret ballot is undemocratic?
Well, we voted in, we should allow people to know what we vote for, I feel quite strongly about that. I mean, I, for instance, don't mind saying who I'd vote for. I'm sure who in the room wouldn't want that, and why?
I don't think people in the room fight.
I mean, it reeks of shame, doesn't it? It reeks of hidden agendas and stuff. I think we should be upfront and just vote for it and let people know what we're voting for.
But I won't get into a discussion about this, but surely the secret ballot is the underpinning of democracy worldwide.
No. Not really.
I just fear that, Chair, that if.
Excuse me, my hand's up. My hand's up.
Pam's hands up as well.
Okay, Pam, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what Rob said. People outside have been commenting to me that Mumbles Community Council is getting quite a reputation for its secret ballots and nobody knows what's going on. I don't know if anybody else has become aware of this, but I have been made. I'm out of the loop on so many things, it really doesn't matter to me, but people are beginning to say, why does Mumbles Community Council all vote for things in secret? We are beginning to get a bit of a reputation. I'm just putting that out there as information.
Yeah, Pam raises a point because, you know, things like secret Zoom meetings and things like that between certain councillors is not on when they're not authorised. I feel that if we don't do a secret vote, then people who might vote away that other people don't like are a target of bullying. And so I think that the secret ballot is the absolute best.
Don't I?
It's the most true form of proper democracy.
Okay, Carrie and then Richard.
Yeah, just to say, One Voice Wales think we're very weird because we insist on having secret ballots. There's no other community or town council that has secret ballots. They're all, as Sarah and Pam said, they're up front. You know, they believe in what they're voting for and that they're quite happy for people to know. And I think perhaps we could learn a lot from the rest of the town and community council sector.
Okay, Richard.
As you said, Martin, the secret ballot is what underpins democracy worldwide. And it prevents intimidation. I don't think there's going to be any intimidation at this table, you know, but the principle of it, I can't see why anyone would object to secret ballots.
Okay, Phil Keating and then I'll bring on. Phil.
Yes, thank you. First of all, again, I would query the fact that secret ballots are the worldwide norm in any council chamber, or in fact, you know, in any other. Most votes are taken very clearly and quickly by a show of hands. However, I do want to raise a point to Chair. I don't believe I was the only person a few minutes ago to listen to another councillor make an allegation. And I would just like to ask via you, Chair, what Mr. Marshall meant by secret meetings via Zoom. Well, if it's something that can't be said, why raise it at all, Chair? Because unfortunately, I believe that sort of comment actually raises further concerns and damages the reputation of our community council. Now, so far this evening, Chair, I have heard a number of people express opinions. However, can I please just ask that when people in the room express opinions, that they are shown the same level of scrutiny as people online are. Thank you.
Well, yeah, I agree with that, but I can ask Councillor Marshall to express. I don't think he actually mentioned anybody by name or anything like that, so.
That's the point.
No, I didn't mention anybody. I was being hypothetical. Let's put it that way.
I'm sorry, Chair, but that is not what it sounded. Chair, I now raise an objection to you formally that Councillor Rob Marshall made a spurious and comment, and I will be following that up. Thank you.
Okay, one of the reasons I think it might be helpful to do secret ballots in some circumstances also is it can be quite embarrassing if you put yourself forward for something and no one votes for you, right? So I think it also helps people put themselves forward because they might have just lost by one vote, but if they only get one vote, then that can look quite embarrassing, and then they don't want to put themselves forward again. So I'd say there is that that is a consideration, and that's why I also favour that, and I don't think it has any reflection on anyone else.
Okay, can I ask Sarah and Pam to come in, then I think we go to a vote about whether we have a secret ballot.
I'll keep it short, Martin. Responding first of all to Will, we've all been there. We've all stood for stuff and not been voted for and had to cope with losing. It's embarrassing, but it's part of the democratic system. And I think we do have to be honest with the people who vote for us, and they have to know what we vote for and against. I still think it's undemocratic, and I hope it is minuted what Councillor Marshall has said or implied, because I'm getting fed up with this sort of witch hunt, as he usually calls them. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that, Pam.
The point was made by Mr. Marshall, and it was that people are being bullied because of the way they vote. I'm not aware of this. I don't see what bullying is going on. Can you specify, please, who's being bullied and by whom because of the way that they voted? If there's bullying going on, then it's a matter to be for you to investigate properly. And if this bullying has been going on because somebody's voted in a particular way, I think that is reprehensible and it should be sorted out. Perhaps with the head of HR, perhaps she could do it. But you can't just sit in a meeting and say there have been secret meetings and there's been bullying and then sit there and not substantiate and be accountable. And I think by voting openly, you are being accountable to the people who voted you in. I don't like that kind of thing. I'm sorry, I've raised this point with you before. I just don't think it's acceptable.
I think if Councillor Martin had made an exact accusation, yes, but he didn't, he made a sort of general observation. Maybe it wasn't a useful observation, but it was a general observation, it wasn't an accusation.
I'm sorry, Chair, but I think that's even worse. Just to throw out a general observation about bullying and secret meetings, I think, and just not be prepared to substantiate it, I think that's even worse. I think it's quite cowardly, actually.
If people want to take that further, then I would suggest that they do. But as I sort of said, I think going forward, we're going around in circles. So I am suggesting that we go to a vote about whether we want a secret ballot or whether we don't want a secret ballot. And then from there on, we decide, we have the ballot from there, whether it be a secret ballot or whether it not be a secret ballot.
Do they come into?
Can you clarify, Chair? Can you please clarify, is there going to be a secret ballot to decide whether we have a secret ballot?
No, there will be, no, it will be an open ballot.
Thank you.
Oh, good.
Just asking. No.
Well, you can vote on whether or not we're having a secret ballot or not.
So what do you want to do? Do you want to go out from there on the ballot?
Yeah, this is
Oh, he's going to walk off into secret ballot.
Yeah.
Since I've got councillors here asking me to vote on a secret ballot.
No.
I'm sorry, but when you're having conversations amongst yourselves in the
Can't
room,
hear
the rest
anything.
of us can't hear a word. Can you
Yeah,
please
we can
make
break
sure
the
that
vote.
each person speaks on their own and clearly, and so we know who's speaking?
Oh, I can't hear a thing. I'm sorry, Chair.
We're not saying anything. We're not saying anything yet.
Well, it sounds like you're saying something. Is this one of the secret Zoom meetings you're talking about? Because I can't hear a thing. And it is very frustrating.
Richard,
What's been happening for the last 10 minutes, is it something like that? That is what deters people from meetings and why some people have left. And it's so frustrating and takes up so much time and waste time, I think.
okay, thank you for
I
that.
couldn't hear that.
Well, I'm sorry. about
Sorry,
the
Richard. I
technical-
could hear your voice. I couldn't hear all you said. Apologies.
Shall I repeat it?
Yeah, go on, repeat it, Richard. Say it louder.
Okay. What has been happening for the last 10 minutes, as Martin said, going round in circles, that is something that acts, well, I think all people off, people get fed up with it, and why some people don't want to come to meetings. I honestly think the public see it on meetings, and then you sometimes wonder, what's all this about? You know, it's frustrating.
Okay.
But you must, yeah, thank you, Richard, for repeating yourself. I thank you. No, I think the main problem is that we're coming against this thing of democracy where we want to see a clear show of hands of people voting for something, and that I think is worth actually a dispute.
That is true. The democracy is when we vote to have the secret ballot or not, though, isn't it? You don't have to vote for it. That's the thing. We might not even have it.
Okay, so
Yeah, I hear that, Will, but I just still don't understand why there should be a need for a secret ballot.
Well,
because-
that is your opinion, Sarah, and we value it, and you were giving aid to it as well. But ultimately, this has got to go to a vote for the council as to whether they want a secret ballot or not. So can I put it to the council, all those in favour of a secret ballot?
Abstain.
Five, six.
All those against the secret ballot? So the secret ballot has it. Or abstentions, all was abstention and abstaining.
How many abstentions? Two, is it?
Three.
Oh, three abstentions. Thank you.
Could we have is it too late to ask for a name vote on that, Chair?
Yes.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah. Yes. I've just sought advice from the chair, from the clerk on that. So, yeah, can you just email, who's got the email of the clerk, and can you put the email of the clerk, I got Ian's?
We send it to Ian, shall we?
Sorry, can you repeat that? Who exactly are we sending this to?
You're sending the votes to Ian Hughes. Have you got that and understood that?
Chair, I'm not tech savvy, so I'm telling you, I'm not going to come out of this vote online with email and then try and come back into this, because I probably will lose the rest of the meeting altogether. You know, this is like, so I'm
Chair.
voting for Helen, and I really don't mind that is that's part of the open thing.
Yeah, I don't mind. I'm voting for Helen.
I was just going to say, I'm happy to receive
So
a
am
text.
I.
Oh, okay. So three votes for Helen.
Sorry, Ian, if you were about to say I could have texted you, I could have done that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. So it's so that was Sarah, Pam, and Carrie, was it?
Yeah.
I've got to check my phone, haven't I? Otherwise I'll be.
Let me know when you want to get in the end, and I'll go back to you.
They can come anytime, I think.
Right.
It's a meeting, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not always like this. It's not always like this.
Okay.
It's worse.
Hasn't been a long time.
We didn't know whether to next one, but I had to get to.
Right. It's very close, but Helen won.
Okay, well.
Yeah. Congratulations, Helen. I'm very glad we can move on.
Yeah.
Okay, so congratulations to Helen Nelson in relation to that. Then the next point on the agenda is point number 12, relocation of MCC benches at South End Gardens. Update on the 20 picnic benches which were purchased by MCC and placed at South End Gardens during the pandemic. With Rebecca not being here, have we got any update on this? Paul?
No, I haven't got anything, Chair, sorry.
I'd like to come in and say thank you to Martin because he worked really hard to get 5 benches up for the skate jam. So thank you, Martin. You really worked the miracle there. So thanks very much.
Thank you, I will say thank you in terms of Paul Whittaker, who really helped you with that one as well.
If I could just say one thing on that, Chair, the benches are there at the moment, we've had complaints there's too many benches there.
Yeah.
But I think what we also don't want to do is take more away before the end of the summer rush, because a lot of the businesses there rely on those benches and they need to come up with other alternatives. So I think whoever is looking into it just needs to bear that in mind.
So yeah, so can we note that, minute that, and I would say to you, Kerry, that this is something we need, these benches have been something to be ongoing for quite some time now. We have to do with the Clark being in place, I think we need to be thinking about how we take this forward. Ian Scott?
Yes, it might be worth noting, I had a telephone call today about South End Gardens. There are 27 picnic tables down there. Now, one has got to remember, it's meant to be a park. It's not meant to be one glorified beer garden, but there should be room for children to kick a football, to play there. There is a pool pitch. The tables have covered that now. That's no longer playable. Whether it was playable is besides the point. And the other area of concern is the gate that gives access and egress from the park onto Mumbles Road for the facilities. And if there are children in the park, this gate is being left open. Now, I think a health and safety assessment, risk assessment ought to be down there about the gate. If the spring loading on it is too strong, well, poor little Bobby, Billy or Betty might have their fingers taken off. But it is worthy of note and council should be aware of it.
Give that again. Okay. I'm sorry for tonight, Carrie.
Sorry, just to say we were going to meet Simon from Parks down at the South End last week, but because of an accident in their workplace, they postponed it. But we may have had the same complaint through.
So that is being looked at.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's great. There was another one too, by the way, while we're at it. The bins are still being a problem. They are obstructing the pavement. Anyone that's on invalid sort of trapper type vehicles, anyone with large push chairs, they have to go out onto the road to negotiate them.
Yeah.
Now it's an ongoing problem. Fingers aren't being pointed here. We were hoping to have had a bin compound agreed with City, but it never materialised.
I'll come back to you on that. I'll take it elsewhere. It's not really.
Yeah.
I get these complaints given to me.
Send them over to us. It's fine.
Carrie Tandler Jones?
Yeah, just to reassure Ian that the Bulls pitches are used regularly, and we do manage, if any of the tables are on them, we just pick them up and move them.
Okay, thank you for that. Okay, thank you, Phil. Okay, going forward and that, if there's a further back to the clerk. Who's going forward and then,
Yes,
Yeah.
fine,
okay. And then the next point then is the update on the single benches that have been impacted upon due to the current development of the Mumble Sea Defence Program. Is this what you were looking at? Yeah, no, this is
No,
the other benches.
That's right, yeah.
Okay. So again,
Yeah.
Sorry,
You've got, I think at MCC, you've got around 8 benches
Yeah.
located in the quarry car park. We have had photos of them. They will need some TLC, but it really is up to the council. But I like to have a decision tonight, no pressure. But I would like to get a decision tonight on what we would like to do with them. We've got to factor in the cost of potentially either moving them, refurbing them, relocating them. So there's all costs to consider. But they have been there, I would say, best part of about 5 weeks now. So we need to move.
have we got any idea of how much money we could be talking about?
Hard to say, isn't it?
It is, what we could do is give a number up to X and then
Yeah.
over that, check them, and it's a horrible thing to say, but
The
you know,
only
you've got to
thing-
have a limit.
The only thing that worries me about that is some of them are dedicated to people. aren't
No,
they?
some of these are not. So the ones that are here at the moment, by all accounts, I physically haven't been there. They sent me photos because obviously it is within their compound. So they are MCC benches. I haven't been told that they're memorial ones, because obviously if they are, then it'd be up to us to sort of, obviously relocate. But obviously that is going to come at a cost to MCC, and obviously Swansea City Council won't foot the bill for that. I'm pretty sure we probably can get transport to the location if we stabilise it to Knightsbrown, but I think we just need to make a decision
So what sort of
on
budget?
Thursday. And then
We're talking about 12 benches, I mean,
but at 8 benches.
8 benches.
Stripping, concrete base,
probably
stripping,
look-
painting the metal,
Really, isn't it? Like,
we talk that, I think we should make them for each.
Really that much.
yeah.
There's certainly some benches in Wales, there might be in other places as well. So there's at least 2 really ancient concrete wooden ones which are completely like out of repair. So there might be across of the boards, plinths that already exist, and maybe that would be authorities to find those ones.
Yeah.
Where you're not creating concrete bases, but you just you're replacing crappy benches with less crappy benches.
Yeah.
That would be a
I think that's very, the point, that, people made the point about the bench, just opposite with the Marks and Spencers, that we've got plinth and everything there, and just maybe replacing it. But I do sort of think that maybe what we need to be thinking about is earmarking a budget for this. And then taking it forward from there. So Paul, could we find a budget from somewhere for this?
Depends what we're talking about in terms of cash, Chair. We do have some money left in contingency, although we have allocated quite a lot of it already this year. But if we're talking about a few £1,000s, then yes, we can find that from contingency.
Bill?
Yeah, just one point I want to make is that obviously a new bench, right, recycled plastic, good for the environment, good use of the plastic, right, so that's not a bad thing. That's going to cost roughly about 1,200 quid to get a concrete base fitted, new one. So then you've got to weigh up, is, at what point is it worth refurbing an old bench? So,
Yeah, but I think what we need to be doing tonight to take this forward is to be earmarking a budget as to how to take this forward.
Yeah.
And what we can do within that budget will become apparent as time progresses. So just picking a number out of the air, could we say 7,000, Paul?
I was hoping a little less than that, Chair, but yeah, I think we probably could stretch to that, but that would leave us quite light, I think, in the contingency moving forward for the rest of the year.
Well, could we say 5,000?
Yeah, I would have gone for that one, yeah.
Yeah, so if we say 5,000, and then we see what we can achieve with that.
Have an extra action that maybe if we just think it's provisionally 2 benches per board, the councillors find plinths, they think
Yeah.
Let's bring that to the next meeting.
No, sorry, can I be, can I interrupt that? So, no, I don't mind if you email everyone, like, you know, but I want it, yes, I want it like yes, and no.
Well, I know,
But
I don't mind to.
if you don't mind, Chair, only just because they're chasing me,
No,
and I appreciate it's taking up space, so,
This is time sensitive, you come to me previously.
yeah, no, this,
And they are saying that they've got them in the compound, but they want them out.
yeah.
And one of the things I'm sure you're worried, like I'm worried,
They'll get
if we, yeah, or they will lose internet, so they will deteriorate. So if we can just give them our 5,000 for now, and then we try to take that forward ASAP, maybe trying to look for things as well.
I try to be happy, if you're happy, I don't mind if people want to email me
Yeah.
with any locations that anybody online or wherever in their wards want something, where that they really are in a poor state. If you can do that sooner rather than later, and then at least then I can
Yeah.
come back to you, Chair, and we can go from
Okay,
there.
so can I put that to council? All those in favour? Okay.
I
Any-
can't hear enough, Chair, to know what I'm voting for, sorry.
Well, unfortunately, Sarah, there's not a hell of a lot we can do about that at the moment. This is a technical issue that obviously we will need to take forward going forward.
Sorry, I just need to keep saying the frustration because it's not that I'm not engaging in the democratic process, I just can't hear.
But as I said, I'm just trying to take this point forward. So have we got any votes against?
Sorry, I have no idea what we're voting for, as with Sarah. It's not just a technical issue, it's the fact that about 4 people were speaking at once. Now, if you could just please make sure that one person at a time speaks, and then perhaps those online have an outside chance of actually hearing what they're saying. And then we might know what we're voting for.
Okay, well, what we are voting for is to put £5,000 aside from contingency to refurbish and reinstate these 8 benches which have been identified, which are in storage at the moment in the quarry car park, as I understand it. So that is what we're voting on. Is that clear to you, Gary?
Yeah, could I just then clarify, because I understood the original figure was about 40 benches. So should a decision be made about all 40, or have the other 32 somehow disappeared somewhere?
I think what the issue has been with a lot of the other benches is the state that they're in. And
Okay.
The fact that a lot more money would need to be done on them, spent on them to get them up to standard to be used.
So we're
Sorry,
just
Chair.
down now to 8 benches out of the 40.
What we're talking about is these 8 which have been identified.
Okay, could I ask, Chair, where these benches are going, please?
Well, that's what we were talking about. We're trying to identify sites where we've already got things. For instance, one of the sites we were just talking about was the one just opposite the Marks and Spencers, where the bench there is in quite poor repair at the moment. And that bench should be replaced because we've already got a plinth there.
Right. So they're not all going to be in Oystermouth, they are going to be spread out across the whole of the Mumbles area.
Yes, that would be the idea.
Okay.
Del Keaton?
Yeah, sorry there. I couldn't hear either. So when it came to you saying let's vote, again, it was just a case that it hadn't been clarified exactly what we were voting on loudly enough for us to all hear. So I was just going to ask that in future, when it does come round to the vote, rather than just say show of hands, perhaps we can say, right, we're going to move to a vote now. And then that just gives us all an opportunity to raise our hands if we need further clarification before we go to the vote. That'd be lovely. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, well, as I said, hopefully going forward, we can resolve this sound issue with, because I don't think we've got a dedicated mic, we're just using the mic which is in the CD at the moment, aren't we?
I might have one we can try out.
Yeah, well, this one is, when I've done this before, we've had conference mics in the centre. But yes, thank you for that. So are we happy to go to a vote again on this? Yeah, so all those in favour of earmarking this contingency All in favour? Yes, that's carried. Thank you. So the next point is the Langland tennis courts. Update on the issue of the annual tennis court. I think, Will, you're going to speak to this, Graham?
Yeah, I mean, at the last council meeting, we agreed that we would explore the LTA gate system as long as we could set the prices. That was, can you all hear me online? So I know some of you will have some opinions on it, yeah. Cool. That we were going to set, as long as we could set the prices, we'd explore the LTA gate system. However, now we've got a new clerk. I suggest that she takes this on as long as she's happy to, obviously. And
As long as you're not going to run away.
yeah. And she sort of looks into the options of all the gate systems. The LTA one I think is by far the best, but I'm sure there's others that we could look at. So I think we've missed the grant period now anyway for a free gate system, but you never know, we might be lucky. And we could just bring it back to next council, and so I think we bounced this one. As much as I hate to say it, but there's nothing on the agenda that we can vote for anyway, so.
I'm afraid that it wasn't discussed at the last community and social meeting because we weren't core it, only Ian and I turned up. So we couldn't discuss it. I know, but it should have gone.
This is a waste of everyone's time.
I'm sorry, but any decision on those gates should have come through community and social as a recommendation to full council. And we would have done that, but we weren't core it, which is why it hasn't been done. The recommendation for the gates and whatever it is comes via the committee that it belongs to, I think. And that was it. So yes, any recommendation with the clerk, it has to go via committee. I think that's the procedure, isn't it? But I'm sorry it wasn't done because we weren't core it and we couldn't make any decisions.
But this is a decision which was made by full council and the last full council, am I correct on that?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, so I will consult with the clerk with this going forward, but you know, this is a decision which has already been made by full council.
I'm sorry, Martin, don't forget that there was specific money set aside in the budget for community and social to deal just with this thing. So it's a community and social money because we've budgeted for it. So I don't know why it's just full council and not the committee that's dealing with it. Perhaps somebody could explain that to me.
Okay.
The money vote. I'm sorry, Martin, you weren't here at the time, I don't think, but there was money put aside in the community and social budget to deal with the gate system, to bring you up to date.
Okay, thank you for that. We will take this forward. I think the suggestion is that we take this forward in consultation with the new clerk, and we will consult with the relevant chairs of the relevant committees as well. Okay, we're happy with that. So if we move on to point 15, this was just a point that Claire asked to be put on the agenda to just remind the councillors that when it comes to any events or any activity that councillors or the council are involved in, can you please make sure that Claire is kept informed, as she feels sometimes that things just bypass her and she needs to coordinate this with SA1. That's just a reminder really of that. So then we move on to point 16, questions to Chair of the Community and Social Development Committee. Any questions to the Chair of the
Yeah, I've just got one.
Sorry. Yeah, go on, sorry.
Thanks, Martin. Pam, are you aware that of the current state of the Langland basketball hoops?
Yes, Eddie Mahoney, who runs the basketball teams down there, has been on my case all day today. They've been vandalized. We've heard that it's there are mums included, mums trying to pull them down for children, is what we've been told. I knew nothing about it, so what he's telling me. They're completely out of action at the moment. We have next meeting for community and social in August because we couldn't get together, and there was one in July. And I'll be asking what you think we should do. There are different things. I'm so cross about it. We'll just leave it till August and see, but it's apparently adults as well as children who've been vandalizing them by trying to make them do different things. So I honestly don't know where we go with this. We're just gonna have to talk and try and find something to do. I just don't know. It's only blown up really today. So I don't have any up-to-date information, but that's what Eddie Mahoney's been telling me. And he's the one who uses them most often.
It does seem ironic that the actual wish to use the hoops means that they're getting broken.
I don't quite follow that.
Well, the fact that people are trying to adjust them themselves so that they can be used, it seems to speak to me to the idea that we actually need more hoops and different heights and all sorts of more facilities, really.
Well, if only they would have given us the fourth court, we could have put, our plan was to put different hoops on that court, but we couldn't get court 4, and I don't know where we are with that. I know Robert Francis
Thank you,
Davies had a
Pam.
meeting.
I'm glad you know. Thank you.
Yeah, but Robert Francis Davies had a meeting with 2 councillors, and it has gone nowhere. It's always been the plan to put a second set of basketball hoops for youngsters on court 4. But
Okay,
I don't know where it went.
I think that's the discussion for the committee. Sarah?
Thank you, Martin. Sorry. Thank you, Martin. Sorry.
Can we, if we do need to replace the hoops, can we please replace them with hoops that can't be lowered? Because the whole idea of learning children from even a young age, they learn to shoot the hoop up to that height, and then they can play and they will learn. I mean, my son's a basketball coach, and that's how they teach them. And even the wheelchair people were saying, please leave them at the full height, because that's how we play. So it would be better if we could, because at the moment they use all sorts of contraptions to try and lower them. And it's such a shame, they're such expensive hoops to replace, but you know, and they are used, so I wouldn't want to take them away.
Sarah and Pam, I'm sorry they have to shut this down, but we are trying to get through the agenda of this meeting. And
fair enough, fair enough.
This is a point, technical point, which really is a discussion more for the subcommittee or the relevant committee. And we take it forward there and in communication between yourselves.
Thanks, Chair. Okay.
Evans.
Yeah, thanks, Chair. I'm just, I just want to make a suggestion, but also I just want to make the point that, we have a basketball hoop which is very high in our local park, and the kids manage and they kind of go under, but they still enjoy it. They're not doing over into the basketball hoop, but they're doing it under, and they still get enjoyment out of it. And if very young children can't do it, well, they can't do it, but also I'm just wondering about the possibility and the value of putting up signs to avoid this vandalism, which I think is awful. And I am just wondering whether it is kind of exclusive to Langland, because it doesn't seem to happen anywhere else. Well, anywhere else that I go, is to have signs saying you are being watched by CCTV. It doesn't have to be CCTV, but, in Caswell Roundhouse, there are signs saying you are being watched by CCTV, and there are no cameras, but obviously in a place that's quite isolated with teenagers, they are going to be wanting to get up to certain things, and there's never any litter, there's never any vandalism, and I'm just wondering about the effect as a deterrent to have signs that are saying there is CCTV. I think it's an option that we should explore, because I think it could be a strong deterrent, because it's not on, the fact that these facilities are being vandalized is awful, but I don't think they should be lowered personally. That's my opinion. I think that, if little ones aren't able to use them, well, they have to wait until they grow up. Yeah.
Okay, again, thanks for the information, but this really is a discussion for the relevant committee, because it's something that we can come to here. Have you got anything specifically to add? No. Okay then, so can I go on to the next point on the agenda, which is unless there's any more questions that the community social development, which is 17 questions to the chair of the Culture, Tourism and Communications Committee. Charlie, are you wanting to come in on this or no?
No, my question isn't relevant to the Culture Committee.
Okay, thank you very much. Sarah, did you want to go in on that?
Well, I'm wondering now, I don't know if my question is relevant. Who is the chair of the Culture Committee?
Me.
Right. Well, I just wanted to know, after the mess last year with the Welsh choir being stopped from singing in Mumbles Fest because they refused to sing in English, are they singing this year?
I'll answer your question, Sarah, but just for point of clarification first, they weren't stopped from singing, they chose to not sing.
No, hold on a second, I'm sorry, but they were stopped from singing Welsh.
Can the two councillors, both of you, tone down your language, don't have an agenda, just exchange information.
I'm exchanging actual facts here, Martin,
Okay.
that they weren't stopped from singing, they chose not to sing. No, they're not taking part this year, Sarah. They've sent their apologies because it's after the end of term, Mumbles Fest, that they wouldn't be taking part because of it's actually in the school holidays and they wish to swell with the event.
Are there any other schools taking part?
Yes.
Oh, that's interesting. All English singing schools, I take it.
They're all English
No Welsh.
singing schools, but they will be singing a song in Welsh as well.
Oh, right. Okay. Thank you.
There we are. Thank you.
for that. Any other questions for the chair of the Culture, Tourism and Communications Committee?
Are you, is everything all going well? I'm sorry I missed what you.
Do you want me to give a quick update on
Yeah.
Mumfest? Yeah, I'll give a quick update. I mean, everything's going as planned. Final email went out to all the bands today with the revised timings, so we could fit in more basically and have also more time between acts to get on and off stage. Claire's really happy with everything that's coming on. We had a great meeting yesterday. I'm hoping you can all hear me on screen as well. All the food vendors are in place. All the risk assessment and health and safety is on place. Our host is booked, and all the promotion is going widely on social media now. So I'd ask all councillors and officers to share as much as you can. It's all coming from either the Mumbles Community Council Facebook page or the Mumbles Fest page on Facebook as well. But everything's ticking along. We're just praying for some good weather. So let's all pray together, and whichever one you pray to, and hope that we have good weather on the day. But we're looking forward to having another fantastic Mumfest.
That's good, I know we have to get on the text, but.
Yeah.
Last week all worked well for music here, so all the circus skills going to be there as well.
The circus is up on the hill. Yes, we've got plenty of children's entertainment. So please promote that with your social media as well, because we've got 2 bouncy castles which are free all day. We've got face painting, we've got circus skills, and of course we've got the main attraction, which is live music all day as well.
Yeah.
So hopefully, you know, we'll have a great Mumbles Fest like we had last year.
Lydia's bringing.
Lots of them.
Say for.
Lydia's bringing.
Lydia's bringing, so Coronet Loft is bringing stands and she's making this for Claire, so if like kids can do litter picks during the day.
Brilliant, yeah, lovely.
Promote our environmental messages during the day.
Great.
So, yeah, that's.
And we've enforced the no non-recyclable glasses. And in fact, as a bonus for next year, we're even thinking about having on entry, you get given your own plastic reusable glass, festival glass as well. So we're looking into things. So yeah, it's all been great.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Rob, I just wanted to ask, will there be ashtrays available, you know, whether they're at the bar or, you know, I know we don't want to promote smoking, it's not healthy, but the amount of cigarette ends that were on the grass last year, can we have ashtrays available at the bar or?
That's a really good point, Rian, and it's something I haven't personally thought about. I will bring that up with Claire, because we have got another meeting coming up. And I think, you know, a lot of the bars will have ashtrays left over from when smoking was allowed in pubs. So I'll get onto the bars as well and see if they can place them on the picnic tables that will be able for people to enjoy.
Okay.
Because people will smoke, people will smoke, whether they have ashtrays or not, if they're smokers, they'll smoke,
They're entitled to it out of doors, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, of course. Thank you, Rob, thank you,
Oh,
Chair.
yeah, no problem.
Right, thank you. So, if there's no more questions for the Chair of the Culture, Tourism and Communications Committee. Questions for the Chair of the Environmental Committee? No questions for the Chair. Chair of the Finance and Compliance Committee? No questions. So, I'm taking this initial feasibility study and sustainability requirements on the agenda referred to the Austrian Centre, the reports that we got there.
Yes, they are, Chair. The reports that have come through by Down to Earth on the Austrian redevelopment.
You want to talk about well, they're available, they're there for councillors to read. I don't know if anybody's got any particular questions on them.
It's this 21 or 22.
I think if I could just say that at the last meeting we had, that it was really reaffirmed with the contractor that we do want to make the building as environmentally friendly as possible. So I know that's a lot of councillors' aims. So we have mentioned that, and there is obviously an environmental assessment being done. So just that I don't know.
Yes, I mean, if you have a look at the reports that are in you need it back. I think all the information you require is there if you so wish it. So then I think we can go on to point 22.
Thank you.
Sorry, is that you, Helen? We can't hear a word.
No, it was the clerk that brought something to our attention at the end of one of the reports.
Okay, thanks.
This week, committee to consider that this. Yeah. And she just had a query about one of the things at the end of the report, but I think we need to refer that back to the relevant working group and committee. Obviously, Gary is not a particular news report. So then we've got point 22, then the environmental committee recommendations. 6 plastic benches be purchased, pipe to be located in the new skate park and the 6th of Jubilee Gardens. Quotes to be provided by END Craig and Meeting. The quotes have been attached to your meeting pack. And the recommendation that as part of the program support of the cost reduction, be friendly street project, a professional video recording should be made as part of the communication strategy to highlight environmental issues. Video will include the participation of school children and councillors in their garden. Council Will Thomas will provide it. Council with an accurate quote which will not exceed £1,000 for climate emergency projects.
Only my name?
Yeah, that's me only. Richard?
On that, some people know I have used glyphosate in the past. While it can be effective, it has definitely been overused. And massively in America, they spray from planes over towns and they just can't do it any good. Now, I've done some experimenting. A mixture of distilled industrial vinegar, salt, and what's not liquid. The vinegar is acidic, cancer like it. The salt dehydrates them. The salt acts like napalm, so it clings to it.
Yeah.
It does work. Tried it. How it works long term, I can wait and see. But that's something to promote as well.
Yeah, I wouldn't keep drinking that.
Okay, Councillor Jones.
Yeah, we seem to be merging 2 completely separate recommendations. Can we go back to the first one, please?
I've got to admit, I was a bit confused with this. So the 6 plastic benches to be purchased.
It's usually A and B.
Yeah, the first question is, What is a summer committee budget?
I can clarify that. It should be the civic amenities budget.
Ah, right, thank you. Yeah, my point is we have 20 benches, 20 picnic tables, which are being put out around the area. I really cannot see how we can possibly justify paying to buy 6 more picnic benches. We also know we have, as we have just discussed, 8 ordinary benches, and I assume somewhere along the line there will be more benches becoming available. I just feel there are so many other things that are so important that we need to spend this money on. I can't see how we can justify buying 6 more when we've already got 20 that are going to be distributed around the area.
Bring Robin, Will, but this comes to your committee.
This is coming to Helen really, because excuse my possible ignorance, I think I know the answer. If we're trying to be plastic free, why are we purchasing plastic benches? Is the reason because they're like the ones I put outside St. Peter's, Newton Village Hall? They're made from recycled plastic and they're really hard.
Yeah.
They don't get pinched. Yeah, fine. Thank you.
Well,
Yeah, this is a good point, Rob. I think we can change in the minutes. I think that needs to be changed to recycled plastic, rather than plastic, because it is misleading. Right, so I think Carrie's made a good point. Like, there's a lot of benches hanging around. The only thing I'd say is, have we thought about the concrete bases? Have we got quotes for those they included in this? And secondly, I mean, there was a lot of demand for the benches from all the wards. I think that we could have even had twice as many. So I personally don't mind us buying additional ones, because I think everything there looks really new. It looks great and it looks all the same. And they're all of the same theme, and I think that makes a big difference. So if we brought in some benches which are 5 or 6 years old, some are wood, some are different coloured wood, it'd look a bit strange. It won't look as good. And this is our sort of flagship project, one of our flagship projects. So I'm all for buying the new benches as long as the concrete's been.
So what it is, do you remember a few months ago, Diane and Rebecca sent really cheering their out saying all councillors, they're all at 5, all 4 wards of 5 benches. And we all have to kind of give ideas, which we did. I spoke to him, spoke to Chris Evans, I spoke to the community on Facebook, and the suggestions that we put forward to Mayo were based on what people had asked. At the same time, Pam and Sarah were asking for benches specifically for the skate park. And because they needed those benches, they're not Mayo's benches, they were benches for the skate park. Because of the opening, the benches that should have come to Mayo's went there because there was a need, and that's fine. So those 5 benches are agreed in the last council meeting to be positioned in Mayo's, and the minutes will show where they were agreed for. They need to go there. Sarah and Pam are saying there is a real need for extra benches at the skate park. So it's not fair that Mayo's can't have benches because other councillors want to on the skate park. Mayo's need to the benches, and if this committee agree or this council agrees, whether extra benches can. So I don't mind getting old or new ones from Mayo's, but I just want to make sure that the 5 that are agreed for Mayo's go in that place. And if this council agree, extra ones could be bought for the skate park, but I don't mind having old ones.
So sorry, just to confirm the quote though, does it include concrete on basis for these new
Well,
benches?
the benches at the skate park are just in position on there. I don't know. Pam will have to tell me.
These new ones that are, sorry, these new ones that are proposed to be purchased.
I don't think they will. I wouldn't have thought the cost does because I'm not aware of those costs.
Right.
But I don't think all those benches do need concrete because you suggested one for my garden. They won't put that on concrete. I'll just go on grass. So I don't think picnic benches do all need a concrete bench, but some of them have.
The council won't move them when they're cutting it, and then all the grass goes long and it looks crap.
So thinking Twine Gardens, because you suggested that one, that would be fine because they manage that. In Black Hill, there are concrete plinths. Wait, there's 4 concrete plinths there. We suggested looking 2 that area. So, and there's no concrete plinth in Saywood Park. So that can be moved.
okay. Can I bring Sarah in and then Carrie and then Patricia.
Yeah, for a start, the skate park is in Nails. And if they want to take stuff from Nails and put them in other parts of Nails, they're more than welcome. As I'm more concerned about getting the picnic benches and benches we can in West Cross. That would be lovely. What I would say about the skate park, though, as everybody knows, it's driven past it or walked past it, it's extremely busy, and you can't say that they don't need them there. They do, and I think that's going to become even more so during the summer holidays. But it's not West Cross, it's Nails. Those benches have gone
I'm
to.
not saying it's West Cross, we obviously know it's a main ward. I'm not saying benches are not needed. I think they are needed. What I'm saying is, if this council think they are needed, then vote for them to go there.
Oh, sorry. I don't know if I missed it. I'm sorry, Helen. Where, as Paul has just said, as far as he's concerned, is 5,000 tops to refurbish the other benches because he's worried about contingency going down and down and down. Where's the money for these benches coming from? Do you have it in your budget already, Helen?
Yeah, so there's a £7,500 civic community budget in the environmental committee, so which was.
Well, if you've got the budget for them, I don't see anything wrong with it.
Yeah, okay. Carrie?
Yeah, it's really just to clarify, Will was talking about, you know, it being our flagship site, which I totally agree. And I can't quite see the logic of why we would move the 5 benches, the picnic tables that are already there, and replace them with something else. Why don't we just leave the 5 picnic tables that are there where they are? It seems daft to then move them around. But I will reiterate that I really can't see a justification when we have so many other things in the environmental committee that we lost out on in the budget that really, really need to be done. That we, on top of 20 picnic tables, we spend money on another 6. And as Will said, the concrete bases, etc., etc. So I'm sorry, I can't see the justification in more.
To make clear, this council at the last meeting, we all had to put our own suggestions in, based on our knowledge of the laws, and we did that. So I'm not suggesting that we move them from the skate park. If we don't agree tonight to fund them, the ones from the skate park, the 5 that were allocated to Nails, will need to go in the places that this council agreed for them to go. If then, you know, it's not fair to sort of just override what other people have said and agreed in the last meeting with this. They're going to stay in the skate park. They will need to be moved. You know, I don't see what the problem is, honestly. People need them, we're asking for them, we should just let it give them. There's money in the budget.
Phil Teaton, please.
Yeah, just a quick one. Sorry, going back to when we did do the budget, and it was a while ago. I think it was January, February now, wasn't it? When this budget was set up, was this this civic amenities budget? Was it earmarked for anything specifically at that moment in time?
Helen, could you advise this was the civic amenities budget earmarked for anything specifically?
No, it covers notice boards, benches, picnic tables, interpretation panels. That's what it covers.
Okay, I just needed to clarify because I couldn't remember where the line painting money had gone for disabled spaces, but I just remembered it's probably in community and social, isn't it?
Yeah.
On cost, I suggest we don't put one in Jubilee Gardens. I know we talked about it a while ago. It's not really used. We're talking about a managed withdrawal from it. So I think we shouldn't understand. That's a saving there straight away.
Okay. Nor will we take this forward from moving on now. So what you're saying, you're happy with the benches that are there at the moment?
So yeah, I'm sorry I'm not making this out very clear. So I totally agree. I don't, the 5 that are allocated for Nails, I don't know if you all, right? So Tim will have a view as well, and maybe I have a view as well. I'm not sort of saying I need ones on flying gardens or whatever. So the ones that were temporarily put in skate park for the opening, in theory, they belong in other locations in Nails. We put them in just because the opening was imminent.
Yeah.
I can't remember what those benches look like. If they're looking really smart and they fit in, fair enough. Let's not spend money to move them and then get more money to move new ones there. There's the people there. And the 5 ones are for the males locations. Let's put them straight in.
But I think the point that Will made is even the ones that are in the skateboard park at the moment will need concrete bases.
Yeah, I think so. And are they all recycled plastic, the ones that are there now?
I don't know.
Well, exactly, and also the quotes we've had, I think the benches, not picnic benches.
No,
Picnic.
They're picnic
Yeah.
benches, 450 quid for recycled picnic benches.
Oh,
Yeah,
You
the
sure?
chip mill,
No, it'd be twice that.
Yeah.
they are most, the one in front, sorry.
Spoke to a lot of them today. I know second-hand plastics really well from there 20 years ago. Spoke to them today. The cheapest picnic bench is 1.5 metre recycled plastic, black standard colour picnic bench, was £487 plus VAT.
The cheapest ones aren't the ones you want to use though, because they're
No,
big.
the 2 metres, the 2 metre one's 540 and there's a kind of slightly more expensive 630 plus VAT.
That's the one I think I had at St Peters with the chessboards on top.
As with everything, it's a lot more detail than that.
So, having had the discussion now, are we happy to go to a vote on whether we support the using the budget for these 6 plastic benches?
I would be, Chair, could I add something that there might be that we have to also add concrete bases, and that might also come out of the budget. Because I think, you know, it needs to look nice there.
And the amendment for people who are stick.
Yeah.
Take that out.
That needs to be fixed.
Ian Scott gone.
I spoke about this in the past. It's a long time ago when we were talking about benches for the skate park. I said that the substrata had to be capable of taking the weight of the bench. In addition to that, if it was being placed on uneven ground, there is a responsibility on the council or whoever put the bench there if one has an accident. Hence, that's why they need to be on a concrete plinth. Now, if they've been placed on the skate park without a concrete plinth, it shouldn't have been done like that. They should have been placed on a concrete plinth. Additionally, it also adds to the fact that they can't be picked up and put in the back of a pickup and taken away.
I've got a quote here, right, from Swansea Council for recycled plastic benches. Base was 250. And the recycled plastic was 320. That's 3, 4, 5, 6, yeah, 750. So we could like bear that figure in our minds, then maybe that.
There's some locations do have concrete lenses like black and Lido, but not all of them do.
Yeah. So, I'm just trying to think how we take this forward. Really. So if we take Jubilee Gardens out, and we vote on the amended recommendation that we put a budget aside for 6 benches we purchased, but included in that, I don't think we actually need to concrete. We need to specify that the bases need to be part of that because they're going to need to. So if we have the vote that the 6 plastic benches.
So 5.
Five, sorry. Yeah, sorry, 5 benches we purchased for the provision around Wales.
Yeah.
Okay.
And yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
If that doesn't go, then the benches that are there now will be put in places that are agreed. We get a crack at it last meeting.
Okay. So all those in favour of that recommendation for the 5 benches to be purchased? Okay. All those against? We voted that, Ian, sorry.
The numbers.
Yeah.
3.
Yeah. You've been getting on the report.
Yeah.
So that's passed. So we've reached 8:30 now. So we're gonna have to suspend standing orders for the meeting to continue and proposing at the most another half hour. Are we all happy to agree that?
Yeah.
Are we having a 5-minute break or?
The only thing that's really pressing, the stuff.
We don't need a break, let's just plough on.
Yeah. Let us plough on.
Could I suggest the two items we've got to discuss in private
Yes.
session are both significantly important, and I don't think we should be whizzing through them. I mean, I know it's unsociable and people will object, but I would suggest that rather than trying to cram them in, you know, both of them are really important. They're two of our major pieces of work that we need to discuss, that we actually look at perhaps having a special meeting next Tuesday specifically to discuss those two items.
No.
It's not going down very well in the room, Carrie.
Well, I'm just saying, you know,
No.
these are decisions that need to be made with some proper consideration.
Yeah, well, as I said, take on board your point of view, but and reading the rules here, I don't think it would, it would get a lot of support. So unless anybody else is willing to talk in favour of it.
No, I think just take a 5-minute break so everyone has a little breather or a drink
Yeah.
and then come back and discuss the important issues.
Yeah.
I've got my daughter's bed, so I can stay for like as quick as possible, because.
So can we sort of plow on? So
Yeah,
we
yeah.
want to go for 5 or
Yeah.
So anyway, going on to the next item under that last point 22, the part of the program to support. Part of the program to support Glen phosphate reduction, prevented street project, professional video. Recording to be made a part of communication strategy to highlight environmental issues. This video will include the participation of school children and council in a garden. Councillor Will Thomas will provide the council with an accurate quote which will not exceed £1,000.
I don't know that, I won't go into that, but yeah, I know some people who
Still
do.
got mine there, I think it's.
Yeah, I sent you an email.
So
Yeah, it was saying.
what I'm asking you is, where's this £1,000?
It'll be in the environmental committee, we haven't had quotes of that, so it was an upper figure.
Okay.
The quote we've had now is £300.
Okay.
Really small scale building, we've had 3 quotes, £300 is the most significant one. The medal was because we Will knew.
Oh, okay.
Says the Will, I contacted you. So we've got, it's a really small piece of work, just to get some filming done of school children and local stakeholders that's going to talk about our environmental messaging, the fact that we're promoting a more through biodiverse community. It's all scheduled with, you know, hopefully it'll get through this committee, but it's small.
Fantastic, great, let's move to vote.
Okay, we're all on board, favor of that? Anybody against? Okay, that's wrong there. Okay, so if we can move on to point 23, to exclusion of press and public.
No, take care.
Access to.
Take care, bye.
So are we all in favor of excluding the press and public or in favor? Yes. So can you stop recording? So.
Oh, sorry.
Michael,
Sorry, Chair, what are we talking about?
we're talking about the progress on Underhill and Yacht Street development.
Right, okay, thank you.
Michael Eames is
Top
now
left corner and.
Top left.
Ah,
Stop them next to the board.
So, okay, now that the press and public have been excluded, the first point on the agenda is the discussion about